Hello Internet, Trusty Phil Brown here again with another movie review for this week. This week I'm taking a look at The One I Love, a really wonderful, interesting, funny, touching, strange, dark, and weird little movie that premiered at Sundance this year. It's a tricky one for me to review simply because even though we live in an age in which pretty well every movie that's released is preceded by a trailer that's essentially a summary of the entire film, the people who are involved in marketing and distributing this movie have been very, very careful to keep what makes it so special a secret, so I'll do my best to explain why you should see it while maintaining silence about said secret. Essentially, it's a story of a troubled couple, played by Mark Duplass and Elizabeth Moss, who are in a very stale stage in their marriage, and on the advice of their marriage counselor, head out to a house in the woods to try and reconnect, go through a sort of awkward, charming, funny little night in which they slowly start to enjoy each other, and then something rather strange happens that turns the movie from a very much a quirky Sundance comedy into a kind of odd, disturbing, vaguely horror-ish Twilight Zone style think piece. What's so interesting about it is that the first-time screenwriter and first-time director Justin Lader and Charlie McDowell managed to make that transition completely smoothly, and more importantly, in doing so, make it do not lose the thread of the film being about the central theme of how couples have a hard time reconciling the idealized version of their partner with the actual partner. How that happens, as I said, involves a bizarre genre hopping that makes it a far more interesting film. If I have a complaint about it, it's that while the film does such a wonderful job of being both a kind of very realistic, dark comedy about dysfunctional relationship, and at the same time this strange Twilight Zone style horror yarn. In the end, it favors the latter genre, pretty well leaving the social observation behind, which I found a little bit unsatisfying, but at the same time, the fact that the movie starts the way it does and ends in such a dramatically different fashion is a very difficult trick to pull off that these first-time filmmakers have done in such a wonderful way that I can't wait to see what they do next. It's also worth noting that the central performances by Mark Duplass and Elizabeth Moss are very, very strong. They essentially carry the entire movie. Again, I don't want to get into details as to how they do so, but if you're a fan of either of them, it's definitely worth seeing just for what they do alone. Yeah, it's a very surprising, wonderful, sweet, funny, and disturbing, strange little movie that feels very unique, which is all too rare these days, and I can't recommend going to check it out enough, because I found it a very pleasant surprise, and hopefully you feel the same way. So, yeah, this has been a very vague, but ultimately quite positive review from Phil Brown this week, signing off for RealTomNerds.com.